ve şiddet tutkunu değiliz.
Biz de zindanla da korkutamazsın.
Your country is in big trouble.
Teslim olmanın sınırı yok.
$23,000 workers in İzmir end strike after pay talks progress. Pro-Kurdish Dem Party had backed their demand for dignity, justice, and equal pay. U.S. Special Envoy to Syria, Tom Baerbock, met Israeli PM Netanyahu in Jerusalem to discuss Syria and regional stability. The visit followed cross-border rocket fire from Syria into the Golan Heights. AKP spokesperson Ömer Çelik says the PKK and SDF must disarm unconditionally, describing the PKK's recent congress as a surrender and calling for the removal of PKK elements from the SDF. Germany's Annalena Baerbock has been elected as the new UN General Assembly president at a critical moment globally. Learn more with Medya News. In Turkey's third-largest city, İzmir, a week-long strike by over 23,000 municipal workers has ended after a decisive union vote on Wednesday. The workers, employed by Republican People's Party or CHP-run municipal companies İzilmen, İzenerji and Ege had walked off the job demanding equal pay and better living conditions, citing Turkey's ongoing inflation crisis. Gathered outside Kültür Park, workers voted to give union leaders the authority to finalize a collective bargaining agreement, following signs of progress in negotiations. Genel İş branch leader Erkan Gül praised the workers for their dignified struggle and pledged to secure a fair contract that strengthens unity. Though some contract items are still under review, a formal deal is expected soon. Talks have included senior officials from the opposition CHP. The pro-Kurdish Dem Party voiced strong support for the strike, declaring that dignity and fairness are non-negotiable. The strike, which disrupted essential services in İzmir, has spotlighted growing unrest among municipal workers and wage disparities in the public sector, issues resonating across Turkey amid rising economic pressures. In the wake of rocket fire from Syria into the Golan Heights, U.S. Special Envoy to Syria and Ambassador to Turkey, Tom Baerbock, met with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in West Jerusalem on Wednesday. The meeting came a day after 2 rockets were launched from Syrian territory, escalating tensions along Israel's northern border. In a post on social media platform X, Baerbock reaffirmed Washington's position. President Biden envisions a Syria that cannot be used as a platform to threaten its neighbors, including Israel. Baerbock and Netanyahu reportedly discussed border security, regional threats, and the U.S. commitment to de-escalation through diplomacy. Speaking earlier this week with Turkey's NTV, Baerbock emphasized the U.S. role as a facilitator of peace, advocating for a non-aggression pact and future border agreements between Syria and Israel. The Jerusalem meeting coincides with wider diplomatic efforts, including ongoing talks in Damascus between the Syrian government and the Autonomous Administration of North and East Syria, or AANES, talks that the U.S. envoy has publicly encouraged, while also promoting dialogue between Turkey and the Syrian Democratic Forces, or SDF. The visit underscores renewed U.S. efforts to prevent Syria from becoming a launchpad for regional instability. On the 4th of June, AKP spokesperson Ömer Çelik called for the unconditional disarmament of both the Kurdistan Workers' Party, or PKK, and the Syrian Democratic Forces, or SDF, rejecting recent appeals for peace negotiations and drawing renewed attention to Turkey's hardline policy on Kurdish groups. Çelik described the SDF as a Syrian extension of the PKK, which Ankara designates a terrorist organization, and insisted that no talks would occur unless both groups disarm. His statement followed the PKK's 12th Congress, where the group announced its intent to end its armed struggle and entrusted the political transition to Abdullah Öcalan, currently imprisoned in Turkey. However, the PKK made clear that disarmament is contingent on reciprocal legal and political reforms from Ankara. While Çelik suggested talks might follow a full SDF disarmament, this contradicts reports of recent direct communication between Turkey and SDF officials. The SDF, for its part, has said it does not intend to disarm, though it supports the PKK's peace initiative. Despite claiming openness to Kurdish autonomy in Syria, Çelik's comments come amid ongoing Turkish military operations in Kurdish-majority regions, casting doubt on Ankara's commitment to a political solution. Germany's former Foreign Minister, Annalena Baerbock, has been elected President of the United Nations General Assembly's 80th session. Baerbock, 44, becomes the first woman from the Western European regional group and only the fifth woman ever to hold the role. She won 167 votes in a secret ballot held in New York, defeating fellow German candidate Helga Schmid. Her presidency comes as the United Nations faces a series of global crises, including war in Ukraine and Gaza, financial uncertainty, and looming leadership changes. The General Assembly is increasingly seen as a platform for diplomatic consensus as the Security Council remains deadlocked.
I will serve all 193 member states as an honest broker and as a unifier. The Charter is and will remain the irrevocable foundation of our work. As President of the General Assembly, I will be committed to upholding our Charter and the purposes and principles enshrined within it. I will focus on what we can do together instead of asking what divides us, because we are better together.
Medya News Daily Review.
Biz burada şiddet tutkunu değiliz. Biz de zindanla da korkutamazsın.
Your country is in big trouble.
Teslim olmanın sınırı yok.